Optimism is back on Wall Street and on Main Street, where we're seeing a sharp rebound in sentiment. I showed you at the beginning, it's worth showing again. US markets are at record highs. It was a rough start to the year, but they both touched intraday records. The best performance is on the NASDAQ, which is up 1.5%. And in the real world, the University of Michigan's latest consumer sentiment survey shows Americans are feeling much better about the economy. That figure shot up 29% in the last 2 months. Look at that graph, and you can see how inflation really beat the bejeebies out of the consumer. Now it started to move back up again quite sharply. The biggest jump in decades. With me, Steve Pagliuca is the former chairman of Bain Capital. He's now a senior advisor, also the co-owner of the Boston Celtics. He is with me now. Good to see you. Good to see you, sir.
Great to be here, Richard.
So, am I overstating this when I say that something's changed? There seems to be an optimism that wasn't there, arguably, for the last 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, certainly. I just came back from the World Economic Forum, and people were guardedly optimistic. The interest rates seem to be going down globally after the large rise, and so I think that's a big part of it. But there's still, I think, a lot of uncontrollable factors out there. What happens to the war in Ukraine? How much does China continue to decouple with world economies, and the energy transition? So there's certainly some imponderables out there that could affect this sentiment. But for right now, it's kind of everything is AI.
We're going to be talking about that in just a moment, because it's what I found, and I need to hear your thoughts. What I found is that there is a disconnect between the way up at Davos people were talking about AI, this great bonanza, which it will be for productivity, but then the IMF warning, yeah, it'll only be a bonanza for the developed world. The rest of the world hasn't got the technology or the wherewithal to be able to take advantage of this.
Well, I think this is reminiscent of the period in 1999 when the internet first came out, and people said the same kinds of things. I think ultimately the technology will bubble throughout the world. This technology is just probably as powerful as the introduction of the internet. It's kind of the next big thing. I think we're early, though. People are, I would say companies and people are in the experimentation stage. AI is out there, it's working. There's still some kinks. They're worried about illusions. They're worried about explainability if you get the wrong answers. And they're trying to figure out where is the highest and best use of AI for our company. And the companies that figure that out will be lower cost and have more sales and better products for consumers. So there's kind of an arms race in AI right now. And I'm actively involved in a company called Liquid AI that is going to reduce the cost, we believe, by 90% to load a model. So that could be revolutionary. And that could also help spur AI in developing countries, because you really can't afford to build a large language model if it costs $500 million just in GPU, just in computer space, right, to kind of load that model.
What's fascinating is the way in which you are investing in this, which of course brings together not only AI, bioscience, universities, the whole thing. It's almost as if private money, if you will, forgive the bluntness of it, but wealthy people like yourselves are picking up the slack on this and leading the way.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of activity. Certainly, I've been a big believer the way to move the world forward and both make good investments and do good for the world is to kind of have universities and the government and business work together to exploit these new industries for everybody. And certainly a model that has just come out called Arena Bioworks is one that we put together with people like Jim Breyer and Michael Dell. It's a model that basically is going to allow us to, I think, capitalize on the fact that the genome's been mapped for 20 years now. There's supercomputing, there's AI, and we can bring out biotechnology therapeutics much quicker, much faster with this approach.
Good to have you, Steve. I'm grateful to you. Thank you as always.